So sometimes I'm asked, what am I going to do in Ashes of Creation? Am I going to join a guild? I'm asked to join people's guilds. Am I going to create a guild? How am I going to play in this MMORPG where there's risk versus reward and everybody kind of has to rely on some other people to get some help? And I tell them that I am going to play solo and I'm not joining any guilds. I kind of get this look of confusion, maybe a little bit of disgust, because why would I do that when there's so much more you can do when you're in a guild? And I just feel like as a solo player, I decided to have a conversation about it in this video. Because if Ashes of Creation is going to be one of those games where there's going to be a little bit of role playing going on in there, maybe I've decided that I wanted my character to kind of have a story, a backstory, something that I haven't really done in an MMORPG. Normally I just create my character, I give him a name, and just kind of run around as that character and let the story kind of show how he's going to progress through the quest line. Maybe there's some dialogue options, and from there maybe I'll say I want to be like a silly carrier or a serious character. But when you have a game like Ashes of Creation, where you kind of have this whole open world, where it's kind of like it's more sandboxy than straightforward theme parky, you can kind of make that decision to kind of be out on your own as this solo player. You're not the lone hero, you are a part of a group of people, so you have to make things to separate yourself as this person. And so in my RP mind world that I'm thinking of when I have this Ashes of Creation character, whenever we get a chance to make them, I'm thinking of like somebody who may have been like a grizzled veteran back in the day, and now he lives out alone in a hermit in the forest, in the woods by himself. Not that he's like distant from people, you know, he goes into town to get his supplies and everything, and maybe he goes back and people kind of know who he is, and people can call upon him if they need help and if they want to. And that is kind of the person that I kind of want to create in Ashes of Creation. Now, does Ashes of Creation allow you to do that? Well, I think it does with how they are explaining solo play. If we go back into the September live stream in 2022, Stephen had this to say to answer the question of the day or month for solo players.
And for those solo players who don't really care about finding a community to play with, but they want to have one when they need it, there's going to be a lot of opportunities from a dialogue perspective, in-game chat options. You can join as part of citizenships. There's a lot of pseudo factions there, social organizations that give you an in to other players without the strong bonds that typically come with guild-oriented organizations, right? And I think that's a comfortable medium between the two.
So as you can see, it's the bonds and connections that you make with players that will allow you to be more successful as a player in the game in general. You don't necessarily have to join a guild, even though if you are part of a guild or leading a guild, it'll give you more of a chance to take over a castle or get the flying mounts or anything like that. But if you're a solo player, you still have the opportunity to make those connections with other players, become friends, maybe be a supplier of certain goods or certain potions, maybe be a mercenary out for hire, to take on some people, dog the bounty hunter, and all this good stuff. You have this opportunity to do that. However, in a guild, you're kind of stuck by those whatever guild rules. Maybe you want to join this raid and you can't because you're low on the guild. So a player, you know, if you jump in, you jump in. If you don't, you don't. There's world bosses. Maybe you can come by, cause some chaos there. Maybe you see somebody getting jumped and you just kind of jump in there, and it doesn't really go back on anybody else. It just kind of falls on yourself. Maybe a story gets spread about this one crazy sorcerer who's out there, and if you come across him, beware, because you never know which way he's going to go. If you're in his territory and you're killing players in his territory, watch out. Make sure you have like a large group with you, because he'll take you out in an instant. You know, that kind of crazy stuff is just, I know it's very, very anime sounding, very movie sounding, very TV sounding, but why can't that be very game sounding? It didn't say players who are solo are not going to be experienced. It just said solo players will have a harder time in group content. I just feel like that would be a fun way to play Ashes of Creation, is to be that lone wolf solo carrier player running around, causing chaos, building a name up for himself, being an outlaw, so to speak, and being that person on the server that maybe people come for help to help beat a boss or enemy, or people stay far away from. It's just a fun RPG mechanic to take care of. And if you're interested in being a solo player, don't let people discourage you from being solo oriented. There are going to be quests in the game that are solo oriented. There are going to be hunting grounds that are solo oriented. So you will be able to still do things as a solo player. It's just when you go into like some of the larger things, maybe if you want to take on Tumok the Giant Cyclops, maybe you can take it on as a solo player because it's not going to be scaling. It's going to be parts where, you can get stronger than some of the enemies at certain parts of the game. So maybe you can go back and do some solo dungeons. Maybe you can build a name for yourself as the first player to take down Tumok as a solo player. So that's just that fun aspect of it all. So have fun, play how you want to play. If you want to join a guild, join a guild. If you decide it's not for you and you just want to roam the lands as a nomad, roam the lands as a nomad. Be a Ronin, as I am the MMO Ronin. Be that character that doesn't lay down or bow down or have a master, a guild master, or a guild leader. You are the leader. And that's how I'm going to roll in the Ashes of Creation. So how are you going to roll in Ashes of Creation? Let me know in the comments what your plans are when the game comes out, or in any other future sandboxy like type MMOs. How do you want to play those games? Are you going to join guilds, not join guilds? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you then. Make sure you subscribe.